My name is Professor Mike Hughes, and my team and I at Deptech are going to show you something that's going to change the way you think about electrophysiology forever. We call it the 3DEP. I've been working in dielectrophoresis now for more than 20 years, and over that time I've seen people develop a range of very interesting and exciting applications, but the problem is they were always doing it with very complex and expensive technology that was very difficult for an average layperson to use. So for the last 10 years my team and I have been working to try and develop a piece of equipment that anybody could use, that they could simply take a cell sample, put it into a chip, put it into the machine, push a button. And we've finally done that. We call it the 3DEP.
Traditionally, dielectrophoresis was done on flat, microfabricated electrodes, normally gold on glass. To fabricate these, you needed kind of extensive clean room facilities, and they normally were custom built for a particular lab, so they were a very expensive custom solution. Also, you normally could only do one experiment at a time on one of these chips. Now, the most common electrode structure on these were interdigitated electrodes, where you've got two interlocking humps, kind of not touching, but just interlocking. If you take these flat electrodes and roll them up, you end up with a cylinder with electrode rings around the outside. We came up with a cost-effective way of manufacturing electrodes exactly like that. So we built a little chip that has 20 of these cylinders on one little chip, so we can do 20 experiments in parallel. Also, these electrodes don't need to be microfabricated in clean rooms anymore and can be built at a much lower cost than traditional microfabricated electrodes. With these we can conduct rapid label-free assays that even leave the cells intact, so they could be technically reused or reseeded afterwards. So we have a very cost-effective, very small solution that can do rapid analysis. A single experiment can take as little as 10 seconds to conduct, compared to about half an hour to an hour beforehand. So we have also a very rapid throughput technique here.
The 3DEP has a very wide range of applications. We've been working with people from the United States who are interested in stem cells, and working with them and the 3DEP system, we've shown that stem cells change in their electrical properties as they start to differentiate. And what's more, by finding out what those properties are, you can tell what those cells are going to differentiate into long before you can by conventional means.
Within the neurostem cell field, it's been able to tell which cells are going to actually differentiate into becoming neurons to help patients who have, for example, spinal cord injuries.
We've worked with people from Norway who are interested in cancer stem cells, and we've shown that you can tell just how cancerous a cancer stem cell is according to the properties of its membrane.
The populations within the cancer tumour have different properties, and we've established that using the system that these properties have different tumorigenicity, which means how they can metastasize, and the way they metastasize is reflected in their electrophysiological fingerprints that we get within the system.
And we've been working with clinicians from the United Kingdom, where we've shown that just by taking a brush sample from a lesion of interest in the inside of the mouth, you can tell whether or not that contains cancer cells or is normal. And on the basis of this, potentially, we might one day be able to use it as a system for diagnosing cancer. As you can see, this is just scratching the surface. The range of applications out there is endless. So let's say you want to explore the world of electrophysiology. Well, where do you start? You can either buy a patch clamp system and hire a specially trained operator who will spend the afternoon looking at one or two cells at a time. Or you can get an automated patch clamp system, which will cost more than your house and cost several £100 every time you want to do an experiment. But there is another alternative. Our system uses a simple chip, about the same cost as a cappuccino. You put these cells into this chip, you put the chip into a reader, and that reader then takes about 10 seconds to examine about 20,000 cells. So how does the 3DEP work? Well, it uses a technology called dielectrophoresis. It's sort of an advanced version of electrophoresis, but instead of looking at molecules, you're now looking at cells. And instead of just finding out the charge, you're able to find out the resistance and the capacitance of the membrane and the cytoplasm. So there are many reasons why a 3DEP will fit easily into your lab. For a start, it actually will fit in easily. It's smaller than an upright desktop PC and requires only a PC or a laptop in order to make it work.
The classic techniques that people think of electrophysiology are very low throughput and very expensive. Things like patch clamp, multi-electrodes array, high-speed fluorescent staining all need very, very specialized, very large equipment to perform their operations. We're having here a very small footprint. It's only 30 centimeters deep, so quite often you can even work in front of it on your lab bench.
And it's very simple to use. Once you've trained somebody, within half an hour, they can start taking experimental data. And they can take that data very quickly. because each experiment takes 10 seconds once you put the chip in and hit the button. It's really quite a remarkable product. In fact, around here we have a phrase: electrophysiology is everywhere. What we've found is that the more places you look, the more that you find that the movement of charge across a membrane, or the amount of ions that you have in the cytoplasm, is fundamental to the way cells work. And by looking at cells from an electrophysiology perspective, you can start finding whole new aspects of cell biology that you just weren't expecting to be there before. As I say, electrophysiology is everywhere. All you need is a tool to look. To buy the 3DEP, arrange a demonstration, or to get more information, please contact our international distributor, Labtech International, at www.labtech.com.